Ladies and gentlemen, put down your solo cups and fried pickles because this is Sideline Warning, the show with the perfect balance of hot sports takes, amazing insights, and good Lord, amen, get off my lawn style rants. If you want to be a part of the madness, call the Blitz line at 931-44-BLITZ. That's B-L-I-T-Z, because that's how you spell Blitz. And now, here to recap this week's biggest and best stories from around the Southeast and beyond are your hosts, the phenomenal brother Adam Russell and the golden voice of the Southeast, Dave Adams. Let's do this.
Hey, welcome back into Sideline Warning. As always, you've got the one, the only, the golden voice of the Southeast coming to you live and in living color from Harvest, Alabama. That's right, because Dave Adams is always on top of everything like Harvest is in top of the state of Alabama. And as always, I have brought along my friend coming to you of Mouse from Howey in the Hills, from Oakland, from Taft, from Sorrento, from Sky Lake, from Pittman, from Paisley, from Orlo Vista, from St. Cloud, the one, the only, the phenomenal brother Adam Russell.
You continue to amaze me, Dave. You're actually straying outside of even my knowledge of neighborhoods in the Orlando area.
Are you kidding me? I'm actually pulling.
You said a few there I'd never heard of.
Really? Which ones?
Pittman.
Pittman? Really? Let's look at some history.
Are we going to have a geography?
Geography?
Are we going to have a geography lesson here?
Geography? Is that
learn me something I didn't know, teacher.
All right. It's located in Lake County. It is only 1.3 square miles of total area.
Well, there you go. See? Literally blink and you miss it.
As of the census of 2000, there were 192 people, 69 households, and 59 families residing in Pittman, Florida.
That sounds like a Waco situation, but okay.
I don't think we have any Wacos or so. I think we're okay with that. But Adam, you gave perfect segues. We have on our first post-Ben Foster guest host of the night. Y'all have heard him on the show already because he does his key stat of the week twice. We asked him to do a full segment for, and he did it twice. But he's from Texas. Kyle Gilbert. Kyle? Are you going to do a key stat of the week this week and make it 3? Or...
this week I'll give you one.
I
will give you one. 63 seconds.
Okay.
Is how long it took for the head coach of my San Antonio Spurs, Greg Popovich, to be kicked out of a game before his team even scored a point.
Nice.
All right. Well, that's a good key stat, Kyle. I appreciate it. And you're coming on because we had a fun talk with Hunter Johnson last week about how Alabama fans shouldn't be rooting for Auburn, and you made a point. So I think we're going to talk about that a little bit later in your Sideline Warning. We'll do a full debate Sideline Warning.
It'll be a Sideline Warning where rebuttals are encouraged.
Okay. Well, all right. So it's that time. We've had him on, what, Adam? 30 times already on the show.
Oh, at least. Yeah, he's a trusted source of information.
Every time he comes on the show, Mickey seems like he gets a promotion with Florida Citrus Sports. But Adam, go ahead and
I just want to say correlation does not imply causality on that one, I don't think. But yeah, we're happy to welcome back to the show from Florida Citrus Sports, the marketing communications manager, Mickey Boylan. So how you doing, Mickey?
I'm doing great. Happy to be back. Maybe got my fingers crossed for another promotion. You guys do great.
We're Rabbit's Foot of podcasts, right? Yeah. And we've seen information start coming around dates and times for the Camping World kickoff. But I know sooner than that, there's another event that's happening related to college football with you guys with the University of Miami and their spring game, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Actually, 2 Saturdays from now, Miami will be driving up the road for their second game. Well, I guess they had a scrimmage last week, and this one's going to be their official spring game, closing out their spring camp. They'll be up here on April 20th. It's free to everyone at Camping World Stadium, the site where the Camping World kickoff will be. So Miami fans, along with the team, will get a head start, I guess, on the Florida Gators by getting in the stadium early, getting Orlando and seeing seeing what they can do up here. So you can go online. You can claim your tickets now, but you don't actually need a ticket to get in the gate. They'll give you clear bag policy. The lots will be open for tailgating. So, it's just a spring game in another place.
That's great. Is it the first spring game that you guys have done with a school like that?
It is not, actually. We actually have state here back in 2015. And they traveled quite well. Tallahassee is a little bit farther away than Miami, and they brought about 45,000, I believe was the number.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
So what does you've probably said this before on the podcast, but what does Camping World Stadium hold as a whole? When you put every but the seat, what is the full capacity there at Camping World?
So it holds 60,000 currently. They have the ability to take it up to 65,000 by adding some temporary seating in the North Plaza deck. And that's actually what the plan is for the Camping World kickoff in August. Mm-hmm. They're going to put some temporary seating up on that plaza deck, which is currently used for some fan interaction components. They have some extra concessions up there. You can sit along the rail if you don't want to go all the way up to your seats wherever they are, and you just want to go get a beer, get a pretzel, and just watch from the deck. You can do that. One end, obviously, you have the end zone. The other end, you're looking over the lake. So it's not a bad seat. There's a nice little breeze coming in. It's a pretty cool place to watch the game. They'll, I believe for the spring game this year, they'll have some fan activations out there. I'm not sure what the specifics are yet, but I know that Gulf Mechanical Contractors, the sponsor of the spring game, is actually going to put a couple of things out there, maybe some kids-owned stuff, some face painting, and some things like that.
Well, that's pretty cool. So, truly, we didn't bring you on to talk just about the spring game, but that is a big thing that's coming up right now. So how did this come about? Is it just because they're coming to play in the kickoff game, or did they come up to you and say, hey, can we do this and bring this show on the road?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think both. A lot of the Florida schools are trying to compete for, to get up in Orlando. You're right in the middle. Same thing goes for the NFL, where you're fighting for the Buccaneers and the Dolphins. So I think you're seeing a lot of these schools trying to take interest in reaching their fans that may not live right in the city where the campus is. And after seeing what Florida State did a couple years back, the year before they played in the Camping World kickoff game, I think they wanted to try out the same thing. Where, if you remember, the first Camping World kickoff game was Florida State Ole Miss. Florida State played that spring game, and then they came in and they actually won that game against Ole Miss. They came from behind. So I think you can see some interest there, just trying to reach those fans that don't live in Miami-Dade County, but you still give them a shot, a little taste of what they could see in a couple months.
Yeah, I do think that's a cool idea. I think that Florida, especially, it's sprawled out to where you've got, I guess, I want to say 3 major fan bases, but I don't want to upset your Orlando fans and say, I will say 4 major fan bases. So what I guess I know there are a lot of Miami fans in the Orlando area. What would you say is the main objective for Miami coming to Orlando? Because really they're coming into UCF territory. Is this kind of we really are the third best program in the state to kind of show UCF, hey, really you're not as big as you say? Is it laughing at me because I'm trying to be as nice to UCF as I can, but
you're gonna spark a riot, man. It's just hilarious.
First of all, let me say that I can give you my take on this, but I haven't spoken with anyone at Miami to get their full understanding of what their the 3 major goals were for doing this. I think though, going off that UCF point, that UCF is it's a huge university. I think they might have one of the largest enrollments in the nation, but it's also a very young university. So you're still seeing a lot of alumni that live here that didn't go to UCF. And I think they're trying to hit those. And again, they're playing Florida, who's right up the road in Gainesville, only like an hour and a half, I think it takes to get to Gainesville from Orlando, which is, twice as far as Miami. So I think trying to impede on that and try to say, hey, this isn't Florida Gators territory or UCF territory. There's a lot of Hurricanes fans up here. So I think just trying to get in front of those fans that are so local to this community and say, hey, we're not forgetting about you. We're here for you guys. We're gonna be here in a couple months, but let's give you a taste of what you're gonna see.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I think it gets that juices flowing for that game and helps the fans up here get their, what do they call it, the swag at the U, right? Want to show up on game day. So
it's interesting, too, because I don't know if – I know Florida State did it here, but I can't think of anything – at least I can't recall off the top of my head right now any other schools that have kind of held spring games at a neutral site. I don't know if you guys – if anything comes to mind.
No, nothing really comes to mind. In fact, I thought it was interesting to say the least because Alabama always packs out Bryant-Denny Stadium for our spring game. So it's interesting. It's taking their show on the road and going that route, like you're saying.
Absolutely. So, Dave, what do you think the odds are if Alabama plays in the Camping World kickoff again that we could have a spring game down here?
Slim to none.
Doggone it.
Slim just left the building.
We really show UCF in their own backyard that they're not as big as they think they are, right? Anyway.
Okay.
So
I don't know. We have some good oatmeal cookies down here. Maybe we can learn Coach Saban down
It's
here.
oatmeal cream pie, Mickey. Get it right. It's oatmeal cream pie.
My mistake.
All right, Mickey, let's get into a little bit of the Miami, Florida. Kyle, you brought up a good question in the pre-show where our discussion that you wanted to bring up to Mickey. You can throw that here.
Yeah. So I'm just curious how you go about picking the teams for these types of games. I know there's a lot of history between Florida and Miami, really kind of a hated rivalry, and they played for so long. I think from 38 through 1987 every year. And that just kind of stopped until they've played 6 times since then. So how do you get those two teams to come together at a game like this?
It's it's a lot of building a relationship and talks over the years. Our CEO Steve Hogan, along with our executive committee, have been at it for a while. I mean, we made the announcement for this game back in 2016, 2015. So it's been a couple of years in the works for it. Obviously, they have to schedule games so far out in advance now. But like you said, they had a rivalry going for so long and then fell off a little bit, kind of like how Notre Dame, Michigan did for a couple of years, and Penn State did. But they were able to get the ADs, talking with athletic directors and getting them together and say, hey, let's put this game back on. It's got that historical feel to it. The fans love it. They want to see it. So trying to get those athletic directors and the schools and the coaches just to agree on first, let's get a game together, and then checking the schedules and seeing what years work. If you have a free game on this week, you can move this around. Some talks like that. Right now that we announced the first 3 games. So the Florida State Ole Miss, Alabama, Louisville, and this game all at once. So we're kind of in the middle of the next phase, and we're looking ahead to 2020, 2021, 2022, and even 2023 and 24. And it's so far out in advance now. You're seeing that Clemson booked games for, I think it was 2027 and 28, which just feels outrageous. It's so far in advance. So it's just trying to get in front of those athletic directors and those school advisors and trying to get them interested and show them that this game is huge. It's going to build recruiting. It's going to build your fan base. Get everyone excited. They've looked ahead of this since the moment last season ended.
Yeah. Do me a favor, Mickey, and I don't know if you could spoil who you're looking at for 2020 and 2021, but can you give us an idea?
Well, I don't have anything for you, unfortunately. From what I've seen look like 2020, there's gonna be anything in 2020 at the moment unless something comes together real late. Scheduling thing at this point, it's hard to put a game together for the next season because they're booking things so far out. I don't have any specific teams for you, but I have been told that there's some things in the works for 2021, and then 2022 and 23 and 24 are all coming together pretty well. They're looking for some big schools, obviously, but trying to keep that local flavor in there as well. Just keep. Every year we've had a team from the Southeast, so you want to get some northern teams in there and some Midwest and stuff like that, but stick to your base so you can make travel easier for some people.
Yeah, well, could we see a crimson-clad team play a team that wears gold and black, possibly in a Camping World kickoff game?
That's my vote.
I hope so. I think that would be great.
I think
no complaints here.
Both fan bases kind of want to see it, and I know that the people on our side of the fence want to shut up a certain fan base. So
Yeah.
let's make it happen.
Where do I sign?
You're taking a page out of my playbook, Dave. Usually I'm the big anti-UCF. So Mickey, tell us some details about the game. I know the date, I think it shifted, right? But what's the date and how can folks find information, that kind of thing, for the actual game itself?
Absolutely. So the game did shift. It was announced earlier in March that they were going to move the game up. So it was originally scheduled for that first week of the season, the Labor Day weekend, where have all the games from Thursday night through Monday. And ESPN, in honor of their 150th anniversary of college football, decided they wanted to do a Week 0 special. So in the past, you've seen those games in Australia. I think they did one in Hawaii a couple of years ago. They're putting our game, they flexed it to Week 0 in honor of that, and it's going to be the only game on that week and on that Saturday. And it's going to be prime time, 7 p.m. on August 24th. All full information, you go to campandrollkickoff.com. I know tickets are going to be hard to come by. A lot of they start with the team allotments for both teams. Their season ticket holders get all those. For local people and people that aren't, maybe not season ticket holders from either school, you can go to floridacitrusports.com, and tickets are available for the game as part of Florida Citrus Sports memberships, as well as a stadium pass. And I think we talked about stadium pass last year ahead of the Alabama Louisville game.
We did.
But it's kind of like Orlando's season ticket to the football stadium. So it doesn't just include the football games all the time. Last year it included Beyonce and Jay-Z. It included Monster Jam. This year it also included the Pro Bowl last year. This year we're still waiting on some event information. So for now it's a 3-game bundle package that includes the 2 bowl games, Camp and Roll Bowl and the Citrus Bowl, as well as the Camp and Roll Kickoff. So there's several different options for fans here, or just want to get a package deal as opposed to single game tickets through a secondary marketer from the team's season ticket allotment.
Well, cool. Mickey, what else are y'all planning to do, I guess, around the game time? Last time y'all talked about having a lot of big things for Alabama and Louisville fans. Are y'all really looking at maybe doing the same kind of things for Florida and Miami fans?
We are. Yeah, we're looking to have another fan fest very similar to last year's one with the Tinker Field right outside the west side of the stadium. Have that for pregame. Obviously, both games, last year's game and this year, are prime time, so that'll give you a ton of time to tailgate. As you know, anyone who's come to the stadium for the games last year, get there early, get a parking spot, and then if you can't get a parking spot, you can park downtown and take the game day shuttle, which runs all day up there, and then you spend all day in the lots around the stadium at the Fan Fest. There's a zip line, bunch of concession stands and beer stands. There's usually some live entertainment with a band, face paint, some kids zone things for the kids. Just like a full action-packed day, and then you get ready to go inside and you watch the main event at night.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Really quick, before we get into more Florida Citrus sports stuff, I do want to know, what was the process like getting the NCAA to allow y'all to flex the day to go to Week 0? I know there was a small portion of time where it was kind of a question if the NCAA would allow this to even happen. So were you privy to any of that conversation? What was the thought process like at FCS?
Well, from what I know, it sounds like it was more of an ESPN decision. They came to both schools and they came to us and asked, would you guys be interested in flexing this game up? Which it's pretty cool because, you're the only game on that day. So when both schools were okay with it, obviously we'd be fine with it. It was a little unfortunate that it didn't come together a little sooner because some people trying to put their chill and all that kind of things and would have liked to know that a little earlier. So we've done the best we can to work with the local tourism department and kind of help those people out. But it's hard to beat a game. It's there's no other game on. Everyone's excited for the season to start. They've been, fall camp's been going on. Kids are just getting back to college campuses. So we think that excitement that's building just to be able to be the only game on that day and show off in prime time with this old rivalry that's coming back together, it's tough to beat.
Yeah, and real quick, Mickey, before we move on, I know Dave's excited to talk our next topic with you. Before we move on, not yet? Okay, I saw it in your eyes a little bit.
I'm about there.
Dave. Okay. I don't think one thing we've talked yet with you all the times we've had you on the show is a membership and what membership means inside of Florida Citrus Sports and the benefits of that. So if you could let everybody know, especially the folks here that listen to us that are local, what does a membership to FCS entail and what comes with that?
Absolutely. So Florida, a little quick history lesson, I guess. Florida Citrus Sports started as an Elks Lodge in Orlando that came together to put on a football game that would raise money for the local children's hospital. And it's built from 1947 on, it's built and built and built. And it became Florida Citrus Sports a few decades back. And what membership incorporates is, you get the obvious things that we've been focusing on, or gets to the bowl games, tickets to the Camp Roll kickoff, and those kinds of events. But we also put together a lot of other smaller events that kind of are, if you join a club or an association or organization, some events like that, networking events, just relaxed events, nothing too crazy, nothing that's a concert or anything like that, but. We have a member celebration coming up at Full Sail Live, which is actually where WWE NXT's filmed. We're in that we're in that same venue, same room and everything. Obviously, there's no ring set up, despite my efforts. I have tried, but we've got some yoga and happy hour events. In the past we've gone to some bar crawls. We've hosted some bar crawls downtown for the local SEC schools. We did an ACC school once. Last year, we actually did all 4 partner conferences. It was just a college colors pub crawl that we've sponsored. We've done, I feel like I should just pull up our event list because we're adding new things all the time. Like things like the spring game, which just come together over time. That's obviously free to the public, but we'll have a member-specific area in there that grants discounted food, discounted beer, free food. Some things like that. We have the Florida Classic, which is one of the HBCU games we have. That's a end-of-season rivalry game that comes here every year. Feast on the 50, which I believe we've talked about before, which is just one big tailgate kind of in the beginning of the football season that members get for free as part of their memberships. That is cost to the public. They have, they have access to better seating at the specific games. They get first dibs at, the lower levels and things like that. So there's just so many different things that come around in networking events. A lot of our members are, strong ties within the community, and, they become, it's just a really good way to meet new people and meet people that, want to help the community thrive. The idea behind Florida Citrus Sports and our nonprofit organization is that we use the stadium to bring in events that will then benefit the local community. And we've come a long way, especially in the last 5 years. We've started partnering with Lift Orlando, which is another nonprofit that's in the community working to build the local neighborhoods around, a 2 or 3 mile radius around the stadium and lift those up out of poverty. They just finished a brand new complex about a half mile away from the stadium. That is, it had a wait list. They just finished the pool. They have a clubhouse in it. So it's hard to explain. You should check out, if you get the chance, check out liftorlando.org, because the things they're doing in the short amount of time they've been around is just incredible. It's really a sight to see.
Yeah, that's really cool, and I really do appreciate the things that Florida Citrus Sports does around the Orlando area. And I'm not local there, but I come down there a lot, and I know that Adam does appreciate it. And I think, Adam, didn't you say that Blair has done some of the yoga stuff?
Yeah, she has, and I think that's one of the cool things for us is we're trying to do a few more of the non-sports events that they do. Feast on the 50, the yoga. I think Wine Wednesdays, you guys have those too, Mickey. And so, we're looking at membership too. I ask a little bit selfishly that question, but I know a lot of people to talk to have asked and we're interested in the answer to that. So thanactually, appreciate it.
No problem. And actually, our next Wednesday wine is in 2 days. This week. So
nice.
We'll actually have some food there afterwards. Obviously, the wine will be there. We have the yoga on the field again, which we hit over 100 people at the last one, which is, when you see all those people out there on the field, it's pretty cool to see, because you don't see that many people out there except for when there's a football game.
Yeah.
And then obviously we'll have some local vendors there actually giving out some food samples on top of, what the catering we have is. So it just keeps building week by week. That's one of our fastest growing events it's been around for just a short time.
That's great.
That's great, Mickey. Hey, we really appreciate you and having the Florida Citrus Sports guys coming in and partnering with us. But I guess it's your fourth time on the show, so you really have brought the Florida Citrus Sports people and you yourself into the Sideline Warning community. So we really do appreciate you coming in and talking and telling what all you do for the games and the community and everything like that. But, Mickey, that's not the only reason we have you on. A big event happened last night, and I have one question, Mickey. One question. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready. I am more than ready.
Oh, there goes Kyle.
Lost him.
We lost Kyle. I don't understand because most people don't realize that wrestling is a huge deal, and wrestling had its Super Bowl last night. Mickey, did you stay up and watch 7 hours of the main show, and then there was 2 hours of the pre-show? Watch all 9 hours of wrestling last night?
I sure did.
I did as well. Did you watch all 3 hours of NXT TakeOver?
I unfortunately did not get to
Mickey.
see NXT Take. I'm disappointed in myself.
You missed the match of the year.
Johnny Gargano, I'm guessing?
No. Walter and Pete Dunne.
Okay.
You have to go back and watch it. It was honestly the best thing I have seen in 20 years in wrestling.
Was that for the NXT UK belt?
Yes.
Okay.
It was, Pete Dunne is this small guy, and Walter is this behemoth of a man. And it was an incredible, Pete Dunne kind of took a page out of the Marty of the Bullet Club and being the elite and did joint manipulation. And Walter's big finisher, or one of his big moves, is he slaps the hell out of you. And he took that move away, so Walter had to find a different way to beat him. And it was a really good match. You need to watch it when you get a chance.
Yeah.
But, Mickey, give me your first impressions of 9 hours of wrestling yesterday.
I was, I don't want to use the term blown away, but I was absolutely surprised by what unfolded. I didn't have the highest expectations going in. I thought it was got a little lull going into the last month, which I think, it's tough to do with the bookings and Fastlane being so close together.
Right.
But from the Kofi Kingston Daniel Bryan match to the Seth Rollins Lesnar starting the main card, and then obviously the main event, Becky Lynch. Am I allowed to do any spoilers?
Yeah, go ahead. A lot of the people who watch the show have also watched WrestleMania. In fact, listen to the show. A lot of the people that I know that listen to the show, I was texting back and forth with last night during the show, so I know that they've watched it already. Okay,
perfect. Well, for those who know me well, know that I'm a huge man fan. Becky Lynch is my favorite wrestler right now.
Really?
I think that storyline was the best thing going the last couple months. I wasn't thrilled with the ending, the way it came about, but I would love the result.
Well, so by what I've read and heard today, the ending, it was supposed to be a pin. There was some talk that the pin wasn't supposed to happen because Ronda broke her hand. But the ultimate decision came because Ronda had never been tapped out in UFC or judo. So it's not believable. And Adam, yes, wrestling is fake. We know this. It's not believable for her to tap out. So they had to actually make a call and do a pin. But she really did break her hand really bad, so they had to end it quickly.
So she broke her hand in the match?
Yeah, she broke her hand in the match.
Oh, okay, I didn't.
Was that scripted?
No, that was not scripted,
Oh, okay.
Adam.
Just checking.
When did that? I don't even know when that happened.
I think it was one of the times that her and Charlotte were fighting on the outside.
Okay. Well, the issue I had with the ending was that it wasn't a clean pin.
Right.
They obviously, and it looked like Ronda was shocked too. I don't know if that was just kayfabe and her trying to, make it believable, but she she yelled for a couple minutes and then just, walked out of the ring and gave Becky her moment.
Yeah.
But it just felt like it ended abruptly. I mean, even when they showed Charlotte for that 2 or 3 second span when she was on the outside, she even looked kind of confused. So
I don't know if it was supposed to end at that moment. The pin was supposed to happen. I think what I've read is that Ronda was supposed to be down at the time, but because she is kind of green in the way of pro wrestling right now, she wasn't fully, she didn't get it down right, and that Corey Graves was calling attention to it too much, and that people were in his ear saying, "Shut up, shut up, shut up." This was not supposed to happen this way.
Wow, okay, I didn't know that at all. The only thing I saw, and I haven't been able to follow anything this afternoon, but when I woke up this morning, I saw something that said it wasn't supposed to end at that time either. But they also said something about Becky was supposed to pin or tap out Charlotte.
Really?
So I didn't, which I was thinking that obviously they've been building up for her and Ronda, so I thought it'd be weird to have her tap out Charlotte unless you want to continue the storyline with Ronda for another couple of months. But
well, I guess it's probably not well known, but it's kind of a hush hush talk. But Ronda is taking some time off now. I think she wants to start a family. So I think this was Ronda's swan song for at least 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, I had heard that as well.
Yeah, I really want a Ronda versus Becky match because they really do have a great feud. If you pay attention to any wrestling, you need to go and follow both Ronda and Becky because that's the best Twitter feud I've ever seen. Oh,
they are so good on Twitter. I mean, a lot of WWE does Twitter better than a lot of things. There's not many things in that that genre that you don't see football players going at it unless you're Antonio Brown. But
like today.
That's awful. Don't even get me started on that stuff. But I mean, the work they do off screen is sometimes more impressive than what they do on screen.
Yeah.
Some of the promos they cut on a Twitter thread is better than anything I've heard on a microphone in the ring.
Yeah, I think it's truly on Twitter where Vince McMahon saw something in Becky because really what I've heard originally, he hates Becky's accent. And I think that's what makes it the best thing in the world. I mean, she's an Irish accent, so it's a little tough, but I think she uses it to her ability, and she kind of plays into that tough guy attitude with her Irish accent.
Absolutely. Before she started getting on this Road to WrestleMania feud with Charlotte and Ronda, I was kind of hoping for a Becky, Sheamus, and Finn Balor Irish faction.
That would be awesome.
Uh-huh.
Adam is cracking up in the background over here. Look, we've got to
I'm not cracking up. Look, someone broke their hand. And David, I think that's obviously the biggest argument you could make for this being a sport is that it's physically demanding. We've had that conversation, right?
It really is.
I mean, you've proven your point. So you've let our listeners know that this is real.
Okay. For the most part, it is physically real, but it is scripted, right, Mickey? So let me
Absolutely.
Before we get into some other matches, I want to get your take on this because this has been an ongoing topic on this show. Is wrestling a sport?
I think it is. But, I think any kind of physical activity could be considered a sport. I will answer the age-old question of, is wrestling real and say that it is scripted, but it is one of the most physically grueling things out there. I think an Ironman match is one of the most underrated physical activities, trying to go out there for 60 minutes and not just, run around in a circle in the ring, but get thrown around, pick people up, that weigh more than you, things like that just, they don't realize the toll it takes. But the thing I was watching with a couple people from work last night, and during that Triple H Batista match, when Triple H came out and started whipping Batista, I mean, how do you fake a guy getting whipped by a chain that leaves marks?
Right. And let's be honest, he pulled a pair of wire pliers out and pulled his nose ring out of his nose.
Yeah, that was kind of gross. It was not as bad as when Randy Orton put a screwdriver through Jeff Hardy's spacer in his ear and just started twisting that thing around in a circle.
So
that was
Kyle,
a little too much.
Tell me how you fake that.
No, I'm not saying it's fake. I mean, it's scripted. It's real. I get it. But it's not a sport. It's like a movie where everybody's a stuntman.
Or a soap opera where everybody's a stuntman.
Yes.
If you want to have dudes in there and they battle it out and their physicality of it, there's no denying that it takes great athleticism and talent to do that.
Agreed.
But you crown a champion that's known ahead of time. That's the problem.
That's why it's sports.
That's what makes it not a sport.
That's what makes it sports entertainment.
There you go.
But so you crown the champion, and Dave and I had this conversation, I think a couple weeks ago, right? You crown a champion, and then you put him in the Hall of Fame because of how many championship belts he won that were scripted. I can get there for the sports entertainment. I can't get to the Hall of Fame because he's an 8-time champion. I can't get there because
that's not the only reason
everybody
in the Hall
knew.
of Fame.
Well, that's the one I read online. Okay, they said he was an 8-time champion. We get to the Hall of Fame. So
I mean, so before Adam, just to your point, when you put Brutus the frickin' Barber Beefcake into the Hall of Fame, the WWE Hall of Fame is a sham, and it's really just another show to watch an old guy give a speech.
Okay, well there you go. Yeah, or get punched in the face.
Right, or get punched by a random fam.
Yeah. Oh, that was bad.
Yeah, that was horrible.
So we were breaking that down at work the next day, and not the next day, but over the weekend. And when that fan ran in there, almost Travis Brown, Ronda Rousey's real life husband, was in the ring almost before that guy could get to Bret Hart. If you watch the replay, he almost somehow got in the ring before the guy who ran in out of nowhere did it. And then all of a sudden he pulls him off, and while they're dragging the guy out, Dash Wilder of the Revival just starts taking cheap shots at the guy.
The greatest hit I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, and apparently I don't know if you heard this, but that guy was a amateur UFC fighter.
Yeah.
He was, I think, 2-1 or 1-2 in his matches, but he had been tweeting at Vince McMahon and the WWE for a couple weeks, I guess, just talking about how he was unhappy with the main event and how he's ticked off that he wasn't, given a chance to wrestle and things like that. So, yeah, the guy was a little out there, it seems like.
By what I heard today, I saw that Bret Hart actually had a couple of bruises and was slightly injured a little bit by this idiot jumping the stage.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting up there in age. I think he's had a stroke and a heart attack, maybe.
Yeah,
so
definitely
he's not not Vince McMahon as a 70-year-old who's still lifting weights every day. I mean, just that taking that fall, could hurt a rib or two, I guess.
Yeah, I will say this: Bret Hart looked pretty bad. That was the worst I've ever seen the Hitman look.
Yeah, I can't argue with you there.
Well, let's get back to the showcase of the Immortals, if you don't mind. So besides the Becky Lynch match, what else were you really excited to see and excited to see how it ended?
Honestly, Batista and Triple H was one high up on my list.
Really?
And I read a couple of recaps and reviews from people online, a lot of even just Twitter talk about how they thought it went 10 minutes too long. And honestly, I was entertained that whole time. I didn't think it went long at all.
Yeah, I actually thought it was a little short. I figured that those two could have an incredible match, and I loved how it ended, bringing Ric Flair. The only thing I thought that could have had a better ending was to have all of Evolution out there and have Randy Orton kind of choose sides. Mm-hmm. And the way that Randy Orton is right now, you would think he would have sided with Batista on the heel side. And I think it could have been a cool kind of ending to that whole faction kind of really, truly imploding.
Absolutely, and I thought the way they led into the match a couple months ago when they had the reunion show, they were showing some weird looks between Batista and Triple H. You kind of saw that coming, I think. Yeah. And then obviously for Ric Flair's 70th birthday when he dragged them out, then you knew exactly where they were going. But I thought the way they did that storyline was pretty well done.
Yeah, I did too. And to be honest, I really did appreciate, I don't know if you saw it today, but I appreciate what Batista did today on social media. Did you see that?
I did not.
So he got up on social media, on his Twitter and his Instagram, and basically wrote a love letter to the WWE Universe and say, you guys were my first love. You gave me the best way to go out. I am now officially announcing my retirement. Thank you for giving me the perfect ending to my story.
Wow.
Yeah. Batista played one of the better heels in WWE.
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
And to close his career the way he did, the way he wanted to go out, he gave himself that storybook ending. And I really appreciate the fact how he really gave it back to the fans. I think he perfectly closed the story and showed that he could go even if WWE called him back for one more match.
Oh yeah, no, he was very impressive. Unlike I don't want to throw him under the bus because he's one of the greatest of all time, especially at WrestleMania. But the Undertaker's last couple matches have just been, the opponents had to carry him quite a bit.
Not to spoil anything, but have you watched Raw while we're talking right now?
I saw the first hour and a half. I know that Kofi and Seth are are going at it. I think right now. Did it already start?
Yeah,
I'm
well,
not sure.
yes,
Sorry.
the name that you just threw out showed up.
I
Taker.
was. Oh, great.
Yeah, I thought he was retired. He needs to just go back. Probably my favorite of all time, but he needs to retire.
It's weird. That I honestly thought they were going to bring him out last night.
I did too.
How about this question? What did you think of old school John Cena?
That was my favorite part of the night.
I loved it.
I'm not going to lie. I'm a 37-year-old man, but I marked hard when I heard the Thugonomics song come on. I knew exactly what was happening. When they did the Babe Ruth thing, I was like, okay, this is going a little too long, but what are they leading up to? And then that Thugonomics record scratch hit, and I jumped around and probably ran around my living room 3 or 4 times.
Did you? So you knew Cena was coming out during the Babe Ruth preview?
My thought was, what are they doing? I knew he was going to come out during Elias. I mean, that's the only time it made sense for him to come out.
I thought it would have been Kurt Angle's match as a replacement for Corbin.
Nah, well, maybe. But when Elias started going long, I was like, okay, something's happening here.
I honestly thought the Brooklyn Brawler was going to come out.
Now that would have been awesome. Why didn't they think of that?
Maybe I need to have a new job calling, apparently.
You and I both, because I think we talked about this on our pre-show. During the Kofi Daniel Bryan match, we both have written a storyline that could have gone all the way till next WrestleMania.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I think.
I mean, and those guys have been together for so long that it was kind of like if you remember when Nikki Bella was facing Stephanie. I think that was WrestleMania. It might have been SummerSlam, and then her sister turned on her.
Yeah.
It's just they've been together so long, you don't see it coming. Even if you want to, it's hard to see it coming.
Yeah, I fully, like, everyone else is posting these pictures of how they were crying when Kofi won the belt, and all these wrestlers were excited and jumping up and down for him. I couldn't let myself really get into the moment because I fully anticipated when Big E put Kofi on his shoulders. I was like, all right, here we go.
Yep,
He's going to pull the Batista and just drop him. So
I was right there with you, but I did like Kofi's post-match celebration, bringing his kids into the ring.
Yeah.
Actually, his one kid's probably going to be a wrestler the way he was showboating for the crowd.
I know. He looked awesome.
Yeah.
So going forward, we're now looking into a new season. I guess we can call this the new season of WWE going forward. Do you see the writing going better? Because WrestleMania truly was the first time in probably 20 years they wrote towards the fans. Do you think that AEW has started pushing WWE to get better, and is it starting to truly go how the fans want it to be?
I hope so. I remember when TNA was going at it for 5 or 6 months, and they started going at the same night. I think they both did Monday, and WWE was bringing back some old wrestlers, bringing back a little bit of more. They didn't go quite Attitude Era. They were still PG, but a little more vicious.
Right.
For those couple months, I love that you need that competition.
Right.
When they can get anyone they want and just do whatever they want because they have the production capability and the money. That's it's all nice and good, but when you start competing and watch what these other brands are doing, just that level of competition goes up. And I think I heard that. I can't think of his name. Brother Love. What's his real name?
Bruce Pritchard.
Bruce Pritchard. Yeah, isn't he writing for them now?
Yeah,
again?
he came back. Yeah. He left MLW, and he has now come back being Vince McMahon's right-hand man once again.
Yeah, so I mean that doesn't hurt. He was there
not
for
at
so
all.
long. Yeah, so I'm with you. I hope that AEW does light a fire under them and get some going and thinking and trying to go back to the old school.
Yeah, I am with you there, and I think that this WrestleMania, even though it was 7.5 hours, and for you and Adam, it didn't end till 1 o'clock in the morning. I think that this is the turning point. I think that WrestleMania 35 are going to be able to say, you know what, WWE is back. So
yep, can't argue with you there.
We shall see. Well, Mickey, thank you for allowing us to talk wrestling with you, because Adam graciously gave us some time to talk wrestling, and I think that he sees that a lot of our listeners like wrestling, right, Adam?
Hey, you know what? I can't. If the audience needs it and the listeners want it, you got to give it to them, Dan.
And that also means that you're going to start watching it, right?
I think this worked well, personally.
You just need to see something up front in person. Go
That's the problem, yeah.
You got to go to one of those bar wrestling shows where there's only 150 people there, and you have to walk through the ramp to get to the bar and get another beer. Those are the ones where you're like, oh, this is kind of wild.
Yeah.
So I'm coming back down to Orlando. I think September is my next time. So I'm going to have to look, and hopefully NXT will be there, or there'll be some bar wrestling stuff when I'm down there. We'll have to all get together and maybe go to a wrestling event.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, unfortunately, MLW seemed to move away from Orlando.
Really?
But, yeah, they went down to Miami for a little bit, and now they're flirting between Miami, Chicago, and New York. So
all right.
They claim that they're looking for a venue in Orlando, but they've outgrown their old stomping ground. So
yeah,
it's kind of a wait and see.
I tried to watch a couple of their episodes, and that it looked like an old church building, and it wasn't the best of venues.
No. They've lost a lot of talent lately to AEW and the WWE. I mean,
yeah.
The first ever MLW show when they came back, Ricochet was in the main event.
Oh, that's right.
And then it was his last independent match. He went to the WWE right after. And obviously, you know where he's at now. So.
Yeah, he should be main eventing everywhere.
Yep,
I'm a little upset that he's with Aleister Black because he is a mega star, and he needs to be a singles competitor.
Yeah, he does. I agree, and I think that the two have just meshed so well, and the tag team division's kind of hit or miss at times. But the stuff he was doing on the NXT, just like when Johnny Gargano and Ciampa came out for that month at a time before Ciampa got injured. They just threw the two guys together, and then the fans like Ricochet and Aleister Black together. But I'm with you. I think they would be even better separate, both of them.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Mickey. Well, I'm gonna let you go. We've talked a lot of wrestling and enough wrestling. I think Adam and Kyle want to get on to some other sports, some what they call real sports. But Mickey, we appreciate you coming on, man, and I think we're going to have to make this an every so often thing. Have you come on to talk wrestling now?
Absolutely. I'm always in for it.
All right, Mickey. Well, hey, real quick before you leave, let's go back to FCS. Tell our fans and listeners how they can follow Florida Citrus Sports and learn more information about this Florida-Miami game coming up.
Absolutely. So, all the information needs in one place, FloridaCitrusSports.com. It has all the information on memberships, events, games that are coming to the stadium that, we're trying to support. You can follow us on social media. On Twitter, it's at FC Sports. On Instagram, it's at Citrus Sports. And on Facebook, it's at Florida Citrus Sports. Memberships actually just kicked off April 1st. So you're not, you can sign up now and you're not missing a single thing. Our first event obviously is this Wednesday wine, which is free to members and $10 to the public. So you're saving money there. We've got a couple more events coming up later this month, including the spring game, as well as Feast on the 50. And then, during football season, you have Feast on the 50 and the football game. So plenty of time to join in all the fun and get in there nice and early for 2019 season.
All right. Well, Mickey, hey, we appreciate you coming on again. And like I said, you're our first 4-time guest, and I know this won't be your last. So we appreciate you coming back, Mickey, and we will talk to you again here soon.
Perfect. Do I need to give you guys my size for my robe for number 5?
Oh, that's right. We need to have a 5-time guest. Yeah, we'll talk about that next time. How's that?
Okay. Perfect.
All right, Mickey, we appreciate it, man.
All right, take care.
Thanks.
Guys, it's always awesome to have Mickey on the show. I think that he brings that extra oomph to the show because we need wrestling in the show. And Mickey does some great things talking about the Florida Citrus Sports Group, but he also brings that extra oomph to talk wrestling.
Yeah, I know you were excited, Dave, and I'm glad we got the chance to finally have just a proper segment on wrestling on the show. I know we had Dojo Pro once.
Yeah.
We've actually gotten to talk WWE, so maybe this is sort of something new. But one thing that you don't have to wrestle with, Dave.
Oh, is this your premium segue?
This is my premium segue.
Okay.
Can we finish each other's sandwiches on this one?
Finish each other? Sandwiches. That's what I was going to say.
That's what I was going to say. So one thing we don't have to wrestle with, Dave?
The bulk of belts or bags?
Oh, look at you. I couldn't have said it any better myself, and I say it every week.
You do.
Our sponsor's The Roo Sport at theroosport.com. We haven't signed up for another race, have we, Dave?
No, but I watched all the stuff from Star Wars last weekend, and Huntsville had their Bridge Street half, and
yeah.
So I had a lot of friends of mine, and my Facebook feed was just covered with Star Wars half and Bridge Street half, and I kind of got the bug.
Did you?
I kind of want to go running again. But the one thing I know that I have covered whenever I go running is I grab my Roosport. All I got to do is grab my Roosport. I throw my phone in there. I got my AirPods. I just go.
Yeah.
You don't have to grab your belt. You don't have to have that big floppy thing for your belt where your waters go. And you just grab a Roosport. It's all you need to have a pouch.
So I'm trying to think, is there a use case for, we've talked running.
Yeah.
Right? Hiking. Even traveling.
Training a dog.
Music festivals.
Yeah.
If I'm a professional wrestler, I can't carry a bag with me. I might have a chair or a ladder. But
Those
is there
are under the
something
ring.
that a wrestler
Those would be under
could
the
use?
ring.
Oh, those would be under. Could a professional wrestler use this, Dave?
If they used pants, not the little singlets, I guess you would
So
call
we
them.
might have found the only thing probably that's not,
Yeah.
that it doesn't have use for.
I don't think that wrestlers could use a Roosport because if
They
you-
can take it off and hit people with it, though.
No, it wouldn't hurt because
No?
it's so
Okay,
lightweight.
never mind.
Because
But anyway,
that Roosport is so lightweight that
Yeah.
it wouldn't hurt if you got hit with it.
So for people who aren't professional stuntmen and actual athletes that perform in real sports like running, we would have a use for the Roosport.
Oh yeah, and
That's good.
they should go to www.theroosport.com and use the promo code Sideline30. By the way, this is the weirdest ad read we've had on the show.
I think so too. This is what happens when you have me kick it off, Dave. Just FYI.
I know it's never going to happen again.
But what's that good on, Dave? When they visit the Roosport,
30% off of anything on that website.
anything you say.
Anything. Like, this is really weird, by the way. Anything I say. Yes, anything.
Wow.
This sounds truly like an infomercial.
It does. Are you frustrated with carrying things around in your pockets? Yeah. So I think the one person we have to sell on this and we have to find a use case for is one Kyle Gilbert.
Yeah, you're right. Because Kyle hasn't bought a Roosport yet. Kyle, why haven't you bought a Roosport?
I don't run, Dave.
Do you travel?
I do travel quite a bit.
Do you have a dog?
I do not have a dog.
Do you
I've got
have kids?
children. I've got 2 children, yeah.
Do you ever go for like a nature walk or a hike or things like that with them?
Occasionally, yeah.
See? Okay.
So
I think we have the perfect product for you, Kyle. So you need to visit, along with all of our audience, theroosport.com and use the code Sideline30. So, Dave,
Yes.
let's put a bow on that.
Put a bow. Are we,
Move on
are we
to the
done
next
with our
thing.
infomercial?
I think so.
Guys, by the way, we can't emphasize enough how much we love Roosport, and I think we'll just stop it there. Go to roosport.com. It's awesome. So normally we would come in here, we would talk baseball, we would talk all this fun stuff. But this is going to be a weird kind of last segment of the show because we were all in when it came to the AAF here on Sideline Warning. And I think even up to the last minute of the league, we all were all in on it. I mean, I was all in on going for John. I think, Adam, you were all in on that fake take aim thing, even though they're claiming a fake championship of the defunct AAF. But, we talked last week that, there was rumors that the league was about to shut down.
Yeah.
Well, our show aired on Tuesday and went live on Tuesday, and I think Tuesday or Wednesday, the AAF officially shut down.
Yeah. And it's funny, it felt like a lot longer than it actually was. I think because we talk about it every week, we vote really closely. I found a timeline on USA Today's website, and it was February 9th was the kickoff game.
Right.
And that was the game we covered for Orlando. And just 10 days later, Tom Dundon became the new chairman with his $250 million investment. And it wasn't but a month and a half later. I mean, the 27th, a month later, was the first signs that the league may fold because of the whole players union thing.
Right.
And then a few days later, they said they're done. And, I kind of joked at first, Dave, and sent you the text and put out a conspiracy theory that Dundon really put the investment in the league to basically buy the app and all of the technology so that he could use it for gambling on the XFL or another league. But it sounds like that's actually becoming the leading theory of what actually happened.
Yeah.
I've seen that reported in a few other places too.
I don't want to played a dirty game, but by all the things I've read and what all the players have had to go through after the end of the league, I'll tell you what, I don't know if I could even watch Carolina Hurricane or whatever they are, and not think of how bad Dundon is.
From some pretty reputable sources was that the league founders were not in agreement with his decision, and everything coming out was that, well, he got the technology he wanted, and now he's minus all of the costs of running the league, and he actually took a $70 million loss on his investment to do it. And I mean, it all points.
Yeah, I think that it's a little weird and all that, Adam, and I see where we're going with that. I think that, I don't know, quite possibly the crooked man in sports right now.
Yeah. I mean, even the Apollos, we got an...
Here's a question to you guys.
Okay.
Here's the question. So if Dundon, I get the time was Dundon's doing with a negotiation with Jerry Jones in March.
Right.
So if the intent of this whole time was to shut down operations, why do you go through that negotiation to move a championship game that you're pretty sure may not even take place from Las Vegas to Frisco? Is that a red herring? What is that?
Yeah, I think that's a red herring. I think that when he bought the league, he truly had every intention of making it work. But he bought it with the caveat of making the NFLPA come on and play ball, quote unquote. But when he couldn't get the NFLPA to play ball, he then just punted and said, all right, screw it. I'm selling the app off. I think he initially bought it knowing that the app is going to be the nest egg. But he did want to play ball a little bit before throwing the towel in.
Well, and once you see the financials behind this and you start to think about the way that he did, I mean, who's to say that he didn't move the venue so that someone else could schedule an event in Las Vegas, and they gave him a little bit of cash to do that too? I mean, it really, anything's on the table. You could go as far down the rabbit hole as you wanted to. And we got an email from the Apollo's communications office on the 2nd, and it says, on behalf of everyone with the Orlando Apollos organization, we were shocked and incredibly disappointed to learn of the decision to suspend football operations in the Alliance of American Football. And you know, they stated that they were grateful to the players, quality product, and all of that. But for a member of an organization in that type of a moment to come out and use words like shocked and incredibly disappointed, it's almost their way of vocalizing their disagreement with what he was deciding to do.
Yeah.
And it just felt across the board like it was him saying, well, you know what, I'm not going to make much more of my money back, so sorry, guys, we're not going to finish this out. But it's disappointing for sure, because I think that was something that might have actually worked if it had been started for the right reasons. And my conspiracy theory went deeper, saying that it was never even started for the right reasons, that this was all intended to create a gambling app and then sell it off to the highest bidder, and however long that took was however long that took. But I don't know that anybody else was in on that except for him, based off the reaction that we've seen from people who were impacted by it.
Yeah, so you read Orlando. Let me read you what the AAF's office itself put out. I don't know if this was Dundon or if this was, Bill Polian and all the other guys, but it says, this week we made the difficult decision to suspend all football operations for the Alliance of American Football. We understand the difficulty that this decision has caused for many people, and for that we are very sorry. This is not the way we wanted it to end, but we are committed to working on solutions for all outstanding issues to the best of our ability. Due to ongoing legal processes, we are unable to comment further or share details about the decision. We are grateful to our players who delivered quality football and may now exercise their NFL out clauses in our contract. We encourage them to continue pursuing their dreams and wish them the best. We are grateful to our fans who have been true believers from the beginning, and to our world-class partners, and to the Alliance coaches and employees who devoted their valuable time and considerable talent to this venture. We are forever grateful. Now, guys, I don't know about you, but that doesn't seem like Tom Dundon wrote that email.
No, it doesn't, because it sure doesn't stick up with the fact that players were told, and again, some of this might be conjecture, so take most of it with a grain of salt, but players were told to find their own way home, and people were asked in the team offices to stay behind without pay to clean out offices, and I mean, it literally just felt like they kicked everybody to the curb, and it doesn't align with the tone of that email. So that may have been more of the original founders and Jeff Fisher and some of those guys that were there from the start. But seeing what they were sharing as the message, that first press conference we had after the first Apollos game, there was a belief that was there. And I think that the new ownership killed that belief. I think they just said, we really aren't interested in that, you know?
Yep.
And I want to know from you guys, I mean, how much do you guys think that McMahon, because my conspiracy theory went all the way down to the XFL is going to thrive now because it's going to be the first application of this new technology where you can gamble time in a game in the stadium or at home or anywhere else. I mean, do you think McMahon's bought into this and they have a use case there, or where do you see this kind of an app being applied? Because it's pretty obvious that's one of the leading reasons that he did what he did. So what's next? Where does this story go next? What's the next chapter in you guys' mind?
I'll tell you, I do think McMahon buys into the app. I don't think that was the reason Dundon folded, was to go straight to McMahon. I do think that Vince will buy into it. I think that's definitely Vince's MO. In fact, they asked Vince after all this went down, what do you see happening? And truly, Vince, he sold his shares. He went more all in when the AAF folded. But I think that Vince is going to see the downfall of this AAF and learn from it. And I think that the XFL, who isn't tied to the NFLPA, will make it a better league.
But do you think, I mean, couldn't he technically or theoretically really have bought into the app a little bit and had a financial agreement with them and said something like, if you kill it early, there won't be in a championship, there won't be things to get excited about. Just kill it, it's done, and it won't gain any more traction, and it'll increase the amount of people who are hungry for the XFL when the time comes.
Vince McMahon,
I mean, wouldn't it make sense for him to want that to die like it did?
Yes, it would. Vince McMahon is a shrewd businessman, but he also knows that the best product on the field and best product in the wrestling rink is a good competitor. WWE hasn't been great since WCW folded, and now that AEW is coming back on the brink, it looks like WWE is turning a corner. Yes, I actually made a wrestling analogy for a sports world. So there you go.
For football of all things.
Yeah, for football of all things. So I do think that Vince knows that his best interest is a competitor, so I don't think he helped become the downfall of the AAF, and that will truly bring on some legal competition if that's ever found out. And he's been known to see his hand in some legal competition, so I don't think that that's the case.
We'll know for sure what really happened behind the curtain when we see Dundon win the championship belt at WrestleMania 36.
In Tampa, which I will be at. So, Adam, if you want to go see a great wrestling event live, you should go to WrestleMania with me.
You know, is it 9 hours, though?
It might be. It might be.
Oh.
And then if you want the cool access, you go to Raw the next night, and then you go to SmackDown the next night.
No, my Skype isn't frozen. I literally can't move thinking about
stare.
that much wrestling. The WrestleMania, you know, you might talk me into that. I'll say that.
Okay, well, I will hold you to that. So, all in all, do you think that the AAF will find its way back on the field after all these guys sue the living pants off of Dundon? Does Bill Polian and Jeff Fisher and Hines Ward and what's crap? The Ebersol, Chuck Ebersol. Yeah. Do they have a leg to stand on to sue the pants off of Dundon? Kyle, don't you have some legal mind in all of this?
No.
Okay.
I really don't.
Well, I thought you did for some reason. Didn't we bring you on for sports knowledge?
That's not legal.
Clearly not.
That's different. Well, honestly, for all intents and purposes, you had, again, Jeff Fisher stand up after the first game and say, what a success. We are creating a league that's about player development and giving these guys a second chance. And then immediately after that, they announced they have trouble making payroll, and they needed his money. They took his money, let him have the chairmanship, and then turned around and let him run the thing right into the ground.
Right.
I don't think this is ever coming back.
So you think it's their fault, really?
I think that either – that's the weird thing for me, Dave, is you don't start a football league and you're not able to make payroll the first week. Right. I think that was an excuse.
Okay.
I think – I'm telling you, man – down way deep in my we didn't land on the moon part of me, right?
Oh, come on.
I'm just saying that little part of your brain that'll believe stuff. like the YouTube rabbit hole down sometimes. It's like, I really do think that this was like, hey, we're going to create this gambling app, and we're going to have, I mean, how many apps? Because I work in IT now, right? And I was talking to a guy at work about this. You don't promote things without testing. You don't put it in production. They had an opportunity to real time put an app out and test it in production with real fans and real games and not impact a thing. You don't get that in the technology world.
Whoa, not impact a thing?
Well, what I'm saying is that the gambling.
People's lives,
No. What I'm talking about is that you can add the gambling aspect on after the fact when you're testing the sensors and if they're accurate and if it tracks player movement correctly and can you actually pick a play in time, and is the play clock long enough for that? Does the app respond quick enough? How do the servers and the connectivity work with cellular and Wi-Fi? Usually you have to have a test bed for that, and you don't get to put it in production until it's proven itself. They actually had real players and real fans using this on their real phones in real stadiums that they would be playing in a situation like the XFL. And I there's a part of me that will never disbelieve that they didn't start this league with the intention of saying, we're going to create a gambling app and sell it off to the highest bidder because we can actually show you really how it's going to work in real time because we're going to put real games on the field. And then once we've done that, it's up to that person of what to do. I think it was an auction. It feels like that movie Get Out, right? I think it was an auction that no one saw in the background that was silent, and it impacted people very negatively, and I don't think the real story will ever come out. But I'll never disbelieve that they didn't do it on purpose. I don't think they intended for it to do what it did, and for Dundon to come in and run it right into the guardrail like he did. But I think the intent all along was we're going to run a football league for how long it takes to get us successful up. And look, it worked. $150 million. And they split it 5 ways. That's $50 million apiece, dude.
And President Bush calls we didn't land on the moon. And, right?
No, I don't know that it's that level. This is more like real meaning of Puff the Magic Dragon type stuff. This is like not people dying level conspiracy theories. But no, I just, there's too much that's fishy about it. And we felt that way from the start when this $250 million investment came in out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we always felt like there was something off, and I think that where there's smoke, there's fire in this case.
All right. Well, there you go. All right. So now it's time for sideline warnings. And we did a brand new kind of way to do a sideline warning last week where Adam and I both ranted on the same thing. I'm actually going to sit out this week because the main reason we brought Kyle on was to do a sideline warning kind of anti what Adam, myself, and Hunter talked about last week. I don't have a huge horse in this race. I do, but Adam kind of went the opposite way that I normally do on Saturday when Auburn lost. So I'm going to let Adam be the catalyst on the other side. So Kyle, go ahead and start us with your sideline warning, and then Adam will kick in. So I'll sit back and read a book.
Yeah, I'm a little distracted at this very moment. I'm watching the championship game, and Texas Tech just came back from 10 down with just like 30 seconds to go in the game.
Oh, you mean like Virginia did against Auburn?
Sure,
Hey,
I did
Auburn.
not watch that game.
Hey, Auburn, you got a second?
Hey, how about anybody that knows about a second? Auburn should have been the first team to not be posting about their victory before before it's over, right?
Let me also say this before I let you two go into it. How awesome is it that while it is rodeo down at Auburn last weekend, national media did not know that it's rodeo. And so when they went live to Toomer's Corner and saw all these kids dressed up like hillbilly rednecks, they didn't know the context. So they now think that this is what all Barners dress like when they're at Auburn. Anyway, I will sit back.
That's really fun.
And Kyle, you and Adam debate. And
so here's my thing, guys, and you guys can believe whatever you want to believe. I'm just going to put out there my own personal thoughts and convictions. Is that it's a rivalry. I understand that. I don't believe that you have to hate one school to love another. That's it. It's just that simple. I'm not an Auburn fan. You'll never hear me scream their chant. But if they win something, it's not ruining my day. I'm losing sleep over it. That's it. That's the premise of it. The whole thing about the podcast last week that really kind of bothered me was the questioning of loyalty to Alabama based on whether or not you supported your Auburn friends, your Auburn fan friends that you know want Auburn to win actively. That was kind of a bit much for me. But Hunter came on. He said that sounds like something that a Fog would say, right? Those were his words. It sounds like something a Fog would say. And I will be the first to tell you, I am the foggiest Fog there ever was. Okay? I have not watched a basketball game. I always hope Alabama wins. I have not watched a basketball game in I don't know how many years. I've never watched one on TV. I've been in Coleman Coliseum like 3 times for games. Just not something I follow. I follow college football. But I always love the University of Alabama. There is no question about that. My loyalty runs deep. I'm the first in my family to own a degree from the University of Alabama. So it means a lot to me. You know, the SEC thing, it just means more. It means more. It means more than sports. It means more rivalries even. I just don't have time in life for that kind of hatred to consume who you are. I don't want to be, pro-Auburn exactly, but I don't have to have an identity being anti-Auburn. And I think that's okay. You can love your school without hating another. There are obnoxious fans on every single side. And admittedly, it may be easier for me to say this now that I live, 3 states away, and I'm not in the midst of it every single day. But it's just, I don't have time for it. It's just not worth it to me in my life anymore. I used to hate Auburn with a passion, but it just, I don't care. I love Alabama. Roll Tide till the day I die. But anything else, it just doesn't bother me anymore. And that's it. That's all I've got. It's not really a warning. It's just take some perspective. That's it. Of what really matters. Take stock.
Your video stopped on me, Dave. Do I go now, or are you still reading your book? I don't want to.
Oh, I'm sorry. I muted myself. Yeah. You
muted yourself. So do you want me to go, or did you have anything?
No, this is between you and Kyle. So
okay, I just want to make sure that the golden voice didn't have anything.
No,
to share.
I'm letting the phenomenal brother Russell.
I couldn't agree with you more that there comes a certain point in your life where you take stock of what's important and you kind of think about the things you get past at the end of the day, that some things just aren't worth it. This, however, is not one of them. And I hate to say it, but you can't, I across the board, you can't hate anybody for anything.
Kyle's standing up.
He's standing up.
He's standing up. He's getting into
we've
this now.
We've been on here for like 8 hours, man. It's been a Wrestlemania type podcast, so I don't blame him. I should probably stand up too. But for me, watch someone like Funny Mane who stands out there and makes his brand by this. I think that that's probably the most significant part of the whole conversation we had is, yeah, show support, that kind of thing, but he's really at this point making a living off of that. And I think a lot of people are going to take tickets for that. For you, me, Dave, the normal guy on the street, I'll tell you, you can't hate people. You can't hate people for the color of their skin or their religion or their beliefs or things like that. The only fun thing left in life to get that part of you, to get that itch scratched, is rivalries in sports. And for me, I will always, I may never change the fact that I want anybody who's associated with Auburn in the athletic arena. I wish nothing ill of them as people. I hope their trees never get poisoned again, but in the athletic arena, I hope they never win another game as long as I'm alive. And that's just, it's one of those things that I think it was bred into me so much. You can ask Dave. My dad hates Tennessee more than he does Auburn. So that didn't come from him. It's just part of the way I was raised, and I think it's a lot of back and forth. What I'm most disappointed about at the end of the day, though, is I have no problem with somebody like Kyle saying that says, take stock in your life. I just don't have time for it. That's fine. But someone who sits there and makes videos and laughs and has a hooting and hollering good time at any piece of misery that Auburn has throughout the season, to come back and say that they support them and, they played their heart out and all of that stuff. If Funny Mane can't toe the line and hold it down And David and Ben were even Tennessee apologists during the football season.
Wait,
for a little period of time.
Hold
You
on.
go back and you check the record.
I did not say
You go back.
No, Dave. He's right. He's right. He is right.
Shut
Yeah.
your face.
Hang
I've
on.
listened to every
you go back
episode.
on mute. You go back on mute and read your book. I'm talking right now, Dave. So for me, it's like I agree with you, Kyle. I'm in Florida. I don't hear a lot of it. So for me, it's a lot of fun to engage in that. But I have seen it just turn into something with people in Alabama. I'm just so tired of it. Can't we just all get along and not be like this? No, it's the way it was supposed to be. It's the way God made SEC football. And dadgummit, there ought to be one thing left in the world where I can pick on somebody and they pick on me, and then we laugh and we shake hands and we go on about our way. We don't always have to walk away with hurt feelings. And I think this is the last thing we have left that should be that way. And to see people in the state of Alabama letting that go, it just means it's not going to be that one fun thing for me is gone now. And I think that's why I get the way I get about it. So I'll shut up now. I feel like I'm rambling.
No, well, see, that's the point. You're supposed to ramble. This is your good Lord, amen, get off my lawn rant.
It is. And if the people in the state can't even have fun with it anymore,
Wait.
then what are guys like me and Kyle going to do? The only interaction I have with people around this stuff, it's not at the water cooler where I work around a bunch of UCF people or Patriots fans. That's it.
Oh, there's a Florida
That's
fan
all that
I
I've
had
done.
some fun
Florida
interaction with this week.
Oh, yeah, you and him went back and forth. But you go back
I won
and forth.
that argument, by the way.
But we shouldn't go back and forth like that with Auburn people, is what I've heard people coming back and say, not you, Kyle, but like in Facebook, can't we just get along? I'm just so tired of it being this way. No, it's part of it. It's part of the whole experience. And if you take that away, I just don't think it's as fun. But there you go. I'm done.
Well, okay. I agree with Adam, Kyle. You and I have talked about this. We're never going to.
No way.
Right. We are always going to agree to disagree on this. Ellie's godparents are Auburn fans. Her godfather is an Auburn grad. He is going to be one of my best friends for a long time, for the rest of my life. I hate his school. I don't hate him as a person,
Sure.
but I hate everything that his school stands for. When it comes to sports, when it comes to education, I don't care. He's an engineer. He got a great degree from Auburn University. Adam, I know you got your imaginary engineering degree from Alabama, but IE is
Wow.
but he got a great degree from Auburn. But his school sucks when it comes to sports.
I mean, and I mean it, what I said last week. And it's funny. It's funny to joke about it. I would never say it to the people that I'm talking about in this case. But when we were standing there at the Mardi Gras parade at Universal, there was a kid in an Auburn visor, and Blair kind of nudged me and kind of was like, "Oh, look at that," and I'm like, "Oh, I hope he doesn't catch a single bead." And I would never say that to him. I wouldn't prevent the child from catching beads. I don't wish ill upon him or his parents. But it's just fun. I don't know. It's part of it for me. Now, that said, we have a creed. Shut up.
Right.
Every last bit of it. Just shut up.
You know what I like?
Get your social media under control, because you tweet out stuff before you're done, which made it all the more better. Understand that you are not a basketball school, and you're also not a football school.
What I like is the last couple of days, all Auburn fans have been so butthurt about Alabama fans saying, got a second on Twitter. So they can dish it out for 3, 4 years, 6 years now, but they can't take it.
But
come on, Auburn.
Don't you kind of, in a way, and I want to look more towards Kyle on this, don't you kind of understand their point? I mean, wouldn't you be a little bit too? It's like it wasn't even the Iron Bowl. We weren't even playing you. What do you have to do? I mean, even Kerryon Johnson came back.
What happened when we lost to Clemson?
I don't know. You tell me. I don't
rolled
see any
Toomer's corner.
In Florida. Did they really? Well,
they rolled Toomer's corner when we lost to Clemson.
Well, there you go.
So I don't want to hear a...
Ooh, Dave.
I don't want to hear a daggum thing. I don't want to hear a daggum thing from Abby say, well, what horse race did you have in this race? We didn't. Mm-hmm. What horse did you have in the race in that? Because your football team sucks.
Wow.
Sorry, I wasn't going to get into this conversation, but...
Yeah, you were. You were always going to get in this conversation, Dave. It was inevitable. It's like gravity.
No, you can't not get in the conversation.
I know.
Exactly.
You can't.
But it's like for me, Kerryon Johnson getting on and saying all these irrelevant Alabama fans need to shut up. Irrelevant. Hang on, let me pull up your stats. Oh, wait, that's right. Mr. 3 touchdowns last year doesn't need to lecture me on irrelevance.
Right. Oh, yeah. Sideline Warning, the show without a Dave Adams rant, get off my lawn rant. It's probably not a good show, right?
But can we all just agree that part of it is part of the fun of it overall?
Absolutely.
And that if we get to a point where people can't even like have fun with it anymore, it wouldn't be the same at the end of the day.
So I think, Kyle, you and I had this conversation over Twitter or Instagram or however it was. Facebook chat. Right. Yeah. But the reason you have come to that conclusion is because the Auburn fans that you're around and the Auburn alums that you're around are rational.
It's not the obnoxious variety.
Right. Are rational Auburn alums. And
they're not dressed up for rodeo day running down to Toomer's Corner.
Right, exactly.
Right.
And
exactly.
I think for the most part, 90% of Auburn alums are the rational, get along with your fellow Alabama fan people. It's the 10% of Auburn fans and the 25% of Alabama fans that are Barners and Bammers that are the one that tick us off the most.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Alabama fans on that far end of the spectrum as well, I have no use for them either.
Yeah.
Right, Harvey Updike
the
of the world,
15, 20%. Updikes. Yeah, okay, he poisoned the trees. Should Auburn be able to roll their trees? Sure.
No.
Do I think it's a stupid tradition? Do I think, yes, it's an absolutely stupid tradition that their class ring has a oak branch with a roll of toilet paper in it.
Are you kidding me?
No, that is dead serious. You
What?
can look it up on Balfour's website. They have toilet paper on their class ring.
I'm going on mute because I got to type that. Hang on.
But they should be able to have their stupid traditions.
Wait, seriously?
That's a real thing.
Paper on their gold ring?
Yes, their class ring, their official Balfour class ring has toilet paper on it. That's a real thing.
I have no words.
It's also what they print their degrees with. Hang on, I'm looking it up right now. so I can't help it. It's just always there.
Yeah, no, it's there.
See, we tried to have a good, healthy debate, and Adam just keeps getting these jabs in. Oh, everybody watch out. The Braves are closing out a game. The Braves have the bullpen in.
Yeah, we just about let them come back.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, Adam, while you're looking this up, I'll go through the socials.
Oh, my gosh, it really does. Wow.
So that's another one for your arsenal. Yeah, there you go. You have toilet paper on your class ring.
Adam is dumbfounded, guys. All right, Adam, before we get into anything, don't we have a call to play? Adam,
I don't know. Do we? I'm totally taken aback. Yes, I believe we do.
Didn't BK call in?
He did. Yes. Wow.
Wow. All right.
It went off the rails.
Yeah.
Hello, BK here. I have apparently been challenged to call in, so as the great Barney Stinson would say, challenge accepted. I like to talk about I'm really excited that Alabama found a basketball coach. Avery Johnson was let go or mutually accepted the fire, whatever you want to call it. I'm glad they found somebody that, after looking at the record, I mean, hopefully that he can do what Avery Johnson couldn't do, as to bring the tempo up in the basketball games and hopefully get us to the tournament more often. So really happy about the hire. I'm similar to Adam. I'm going to wait and see kind of thing. But another thing I like to talk about is was it that Auburn almost made it to the championship game. How hilarious was it? They thought they won. They started rolling Toomer's Corner, and yeah, they were most definitely depressed after finding out the foul. I mean, I laughed really hard when I heard about it. I didn't watch the game, but seeing all the videos coming out, how excited Auburn fans were, and then the despair. It's so great. I mean, I basked in it. I'm sure a lot of you guys did. If you're a true Alabama fan, you laughed when Auburn lost. Had to have laughed. I'm sorry, Funny Mane, you got a little offended. But, I mean, come on, bro. You've been living in Alabama long enough to realize that yeah, we hate Auburn because we're Alabama fans. Shout out to my boy Derrick Henry for calling out some of the former players for cheering on Auburn, and even Mark Ingram. Great Mark Ingram did the exact same thing. So, hey, really love the show, guys. R.I.P. Benster. I really hate that happened now, but challenge, hey, anytime, Adam, if you want to get in me more, we can do it, bro. But Golden Voice, you're going to have to step up your meme game because a little bit of weak sauce into that little thing that Adam and I were doing. But love the show, guys. Keep up the good work. Go Tribe. Roll Tide.
You know what? How perfect of a time was it to bring that call on? Kyle?
That was...
Did you care to rebut?
You know, you talk about Mark Henry, not Mark Henry, Mark Ingram, Derrick Henry. I'm kind of just dumbfounded right now too. But nobody ever talked about Jay Barker.
Oh, I am in disbelief. Jay Barker was my hero when it came to Alabama football, but Jay Barker.
Sorry.
Jay Barker became... Well, Adam, you didn't get your cuckoo clock in here, so we got...
I moved it just for that, and I still end up having a random noise.
That's all right. It's all right. Sound ambience. But, you know, Jay Barker, come on, man. How in the world are you going to be... You were quarterback for a national championship team. You basically brought a generation of Alabama fans back to the University of Alabama. And you're going to root for Auburn? You're still my boy, but come on, man.
So I think I have a good example of how to tie up Kyle's
See, and
point.
here's the difference. Like, he was actively rooting for Auburn. I just don't care.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm apathetic. It just does whatever to me.
Okay. Yeah.
Did you find it hilarious that they lost?
By
a
a
little
second.
part of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
There
good.
was joy
As
found
long
in
as
it.
you did that.
Yeah.
So to wrap up, I think we have actually the perfect Auburn examples this week to wrap your point up on with a bow again, Dave.
Yeah.
But you can laugh when they all run out, they roll in, two streams of toilet paper go up, and then they all dissipate, you know, because they figured out they've lost. And we even said that last week, Dave, that I told you the Bear had an in with God, and that they were going to come up with some way for Auburn to lose last second. Turns out I was right on that too, but you cannot laugh, and you should share thoughts and prayers for the gymnast for Auburn that got injured. That's the dividing line. There's one that's when there's a loss and it doesn't hurt anything other than your record and your championship hopes, you laugh and have a moment. You have sympathy for the gymnast who got injured. Would we agree with that, Kyle?
Absolutely, 100%.
Dave, do we agree with that, David?
We agree.
That sounds very
okay, so
begrudging agreement.
That is her lifestyle. That is something that she probably wanted to do for the rest of her life, and she will never be able to be on the gymnastics floor again. So yeah, that's pretty bad. And when some stupid idiot poisons a tree, yes, our universities should band together. And as stupid as the tradition is, it is their tradition. We need to let them have their stupidity. So it was not a good thing to go poison a living tree.
I feel like I won you over a little bit, Dave.
No, you did not. Auburn is stupid. But, all right. Adam, if you want to get a hold of the show, just like BK just did, how do they do it?
It would call 931-44-BLITZ. And as you heard, that's BLITZ because that's how you spell Blitz, according to our intro.
That's how you spell it.
Oh, it's so good. And so 931-44-BLITZ. Leave a quick voicemail. You'll hear Google's message, and then you'll hear my voice welcoming you to the Blitz line. Leave a message after you hear the beep. We'll play it on the show. We do it every time. And BK, I want to know, dude, you talk about having a throwdown. Let's go. I'll work on getting Dave to step up his mean game, but I got to know what we're talking about. You know, what do you want to discuss? Let's hear it. So everybody give a shout, 931-44-BLITZ.
All right, and if you want to get a hold of us on the socials, I am at DAdams419. He is at RunTideRun. Kyle, I found your Twitter handle last week, but I don't know it off the top of my head. What is it, Kyle L. Gilbert?
Kyle L. Gilbert.
All right.
All the socials, Kyle L. Gilbert.
All right.
Find me everywhere.
He is a avid member of the Sideline Warning Facebook fan group. He is also a member that has liked the show on Facebook at facebook.com/Sideline Warning or SW the Show or something like that. I can't remember. Also, Kyle, we got to get on you because I don't believe you have given the show a rating on iTunes.
I have.
But you might have done the stars, but you haven't written on it.
I wrote a comment.
Have you?
Pretty sure.
I don't think you have.
I'll go back and check.
Because I do believe you're...
If I didn't, I'll do that right this very second.
Are you guilty, Dave?
Well, I know that his other
He's
friend...
shaming me if I haven't.
His other friend from Geraldine has posted a comment on iTunes, but I don't know about Kyle from Geraldine. But anyway, go on there, and if Kyle has done it, go on there and be like Kyle. And give us a rating on iTunes and a comment on iTunes. Give us that 5-star rating. Guys, we say it every week, and we do truly mean it. Roll Tide. We love you guys. We'll see you next week. And chop on. See y'all next week.